Hello friends and welcome to another video lesson from DBOS Talks. If you haven't subscribed yet, please click subscribe and click the bell so that you can be notified of new uploads. This will be the 11th video in the playlist called Excel Tutorial. This is a series. And in this video, we'll be learning about special features of Excel that are out of the ordinary. Not necessarily spectacular, not necessarily wow, but I mean some features that are very seldom used and may even be unknown to some of us. So let's start off. The first one we're going to be taking up is what we call strike-through. So imagine you have a list of items such as what you see on the screen right now. You may, in the good old days, you have a list of items on a sheet of paper, and it could be a columnar pad or it could be a plain paper, and then for every item that you have already done, maybe bought or delivered, maybe you're a vendor, then you will strike it off by drawing a horizontal line across that item, if you can imagine. That kind of thing can be done also in Excel and permanently, meaning you can save that kind of change. So how do we do that? Let's just say this is a list of grocery items we have, and we are a vendor. We are delivering this to some customers. And let's say we've delivered the beans, maybe. I put it in bold. Although, yes, we can do some other way, like introducing a column here, let's say status or status, you can say delivered on column C. You can do that, but there's another way that Excel will show it to you in a more obvious way, which will really stand out and will really catch your attention. Okay, that's a strike through. Let's do that now. So you right click on the cell. Let's just say I put beans on bold so that you can focus on that. I will right click on the cell. Okay. And then I'll go to format cells. Okay. I don't see it because of my limited view of, okay. We will not see the context menu because I have, how do I do this? So anyway, when you right click on the cell, you hover down this context menu. Somewhere down is format cells. You can click on that. And then you will come to this dialog. And then you go to alignment tab, this. No, sorry. Right click, format cells. You go to font tab, this font tab. And then somewhere here under effects, I will show you, you'll see the effect. Strike through superscription. You click on strike through on the checkbox, and then you click OK. Now you see the effect. Let's try another one so you will see the effect. Maybe I wanted to strike off chicken. I wanted to put it in bold. You already saw how it works. Right click on the context menu. You go somewhere down, there's a format cells there, and then when this thing comes up in the font tab, you go to the effects section and then you tick on the checkbox called strike through. Okay, to undo that effect, you simply go to the same place. You right click, let's say you change your mind. Of course, you can do an undo, Control Z. Can use this shortcut key combination to do an undo. Otherwise, the other way to undo this, let's say you save this, you close the file, you open, then the undo will not work. So you will remove the strike through, as let's say you change your mind, whatever the reason may be. Then you go to that cell, click on it, and then you right click on that cell. In the context menu, you move down and go to format cells. You go to the font tab as usual, and then you uncheck or you untick strike through. Okay, click OK, and that's it. So that is strike through, the first one we have learned so far. The second is vertical orientation. Okay, how is that? I'll go to that. Let's just say you have another list of items before you in Excel. And if you notice in column A, which is called vendor, you notice that all the values are actually the same. You see, if I hover down, I mean, go from cell to cell with my arrow key up and down, you notice here in the function bar, formula bar, that the value doesn't change, meaning all these are of the same value. So it just makes sense sometimes. If you wanted to simplify it, then you can merge them all, because anyway, all of them are the same values. You have that option of merging all of these fields or cells into one. So you highlight this either with your mouse or your shift and down arrow key, and then you click on this merge and center button. It will prompt you. You just click OK, it's merged. Now this looks okay, except that if this becomes very long, if you can imagine, then this label Acme Private Limited will be somewhere out of view, somewhere down below, and it will be out of view. So the way to get around it is to do this trick of doing vertical orientation of the text. So once your focus is on this cell with Acme Private Limited, which is the result of a merging of cells, you can right click on that. Again, in the context menu, you move down to format cells, okay? And then instead of font tab, you go to alignment tab. Somewhere on your right, you see this orientation with some kind of configuration showing you the angles of orientation of the text. So right now, if you look at Acme Private Limited, the orientation is perfectly horizontal. See? So it is the one with the red, the position is red, meaning is at this orientation. If you can imagine, this is like a protractor. If you have, if you remember your geometry back in high school, secondary school, or college, then this is like a protractor telling you the angles. Okay, this would be 45 degrees. With respect to the horizontal, this position would be 45, and this would be 90. I want it to be at 90 degrees, meaning this label will be rotated from a horizontal orientation to a vertical orientation, like this. This is the preview. So once you have that, I click. Remember, it used to be here. I clicked my mouse on my preferred position, which is this one. Now you see the red, that's the position. And then I'm gonna click OK. See, so that's what we wanted, meaning after merging the cells into one, we wanted to have better visibility to me or to anybody opening this sheet, this file. So I have done the feature of vertical orientation, vertically reorienting the text. I mean, vertically orienting. Okay, so it's the second thing that we've learned in this video. The third is removing grid lines. As you can see by now, if you have been using Excel for a while, you will notice that it is, when you look at every sheet, it is composed of grids, which is very useful for you to imagine, to visualize the columns and rows. They are divided by light gray lines, you can see. Okay, but sometimes there will be really times when, let's say in this case, you're trying to create a report. I've just given it simple title, supplier report for May 2022, and it's obviously a report. Now there will be cases, although when you print this, if you have used and if you have printed an Excel file, you will know that when you print this, those light colored lines, the gray lines here, do not really show up in the paper, isn't it? They don't really show up, which is good. But for your sake, maybe some people want to have a cleaner look to this report, just for the eyes, just for eye candy purpose. Then there is that feature in Excel that allows you to hide these grid lines. So you can remove the grid lines, hide them. You can bring them back if you want to. How do you do that? Once you're in the sheet where you want to hide the grid lines, you simply go to the View tab, okay? And then somewhere on the left, you look for a checkbox called Grid Lines. And then you uncheck or untick it. And automatically, at that instant, the grid lines disappear, okay? Which gives you a cleaner interface, a cleaner look to the sheet which could, in this case, you have a report and you wanted it to have just a good look, clean look, even though we know, as I mentioned, that even though you have a grid lines here, light color gray, they will not show up when you print them. They will not show up in the printout. Now, again, if ever at all, somewhere down the line, you decided to, you change your mind and you decided to bring back those grid lines, then no problem. Again, if you're somewhere here, you just go to View tab, and then again, you click on or tick on the checkbox called grid lines, and it will come back. Okay, that's removing or hiding grid lines. The next is adding a diagonal to a cell. This may not be something that you would do on a daily basis, even a weekly basis. It would not be that common, but it's good to know that these features exist in Excel, ready for you to use when needed. So in this case, I'm showing you some tabular data with a couple of values and column headings on top. Now there's something about this. Actually, if you look at the cell called A2, it is a different kind of labeling. The word vendor here is referring to these values, these cells over here, while the word or the label item code is referring to these values over here. You see, meaning this single cell is actually serving the purpose of being the label for two sets of fields. Vendor serves this, while item code is referring to these. It is good, but it is still, it can be visually confusing for the guy who did not make this. For you who prepared this, you know what it means. But this is where, this is one application of wherein adding a diagonal to a cell will become very useful. Okay, let's do that. First thing is you go to the Home tab here, menu, go to the Home menu or tab. Click on that. And then you go to Font. In the Font section, you go to Borders, which is this one. Okay, you drop it down. Beside the border icon, there's a drop down. You click on that. It is Borders, as you can see. You move all the way down. At the bottom, out of view, unfortunately, you don't see it in my presentation. At the bottom is More Borders. More Borders. Click on that. And then this dialog will come. So somewhere here, you see some sample configuration, sample in icon font. So you look for the one you need, which is, I'm looking for a diagonal which is moving down from left to right. So this is the one. I click on that. It shows me a preview, and then I click OK. No, I'm at the wrong place. Sorry. I go here again. Borders. Somewhere down, you go to More Borders. Click on this, and then OK. You see what I mean? So you can see that it is a cool feature. It looks simple, but it's very useful. There will really be situations wherein we will need this sometimes due to lack of space, or you're trying to present data which is in matrix form. Then this kind of feature will be very useful for you. Again, the meaning of this is that I'm telling you visually, the reader, the guy reading this, I'm telling him that this cell is actually a composite one. It is a label for two sets of data. Vendor is for these, and it may even extend all the way to the right. Item code is referring to these all the way down. Okay, so here in this short video, we have learned a couple of cool, seldom used but very useful Excel features: strike-through, vertical orientation, removing grid lines, and adding a diagonal to a cell. I hope you've enjoyed it and learned a couple of new things that will be added to your belt. your knowledge belt, to your toolbox, to your Excel toolbox, to your MS Office suite toolbox. Okay, if you haven't subscribed it, I do suggest to click on that subscribe, click on the notification so you can be notified. I will be seeing you in the next video.